This is the Average Guy Network, and you found Home Gadget Geeks show number 360, recorded on June 21st, 2018. Here in Home Gadget Geeks, we cover all the favorite tech gadgets that find news, reviews, product updates, and conversation, all for the average tech guy. I'm your host, Jim Collison, broadcasting live from the AverageGuy.tv studios here in Bellevue, Nebraska. Of course, we host a show with some really good show notes this week. You should go out and take a look. You're going to want to out at the AverageGuy.tv. Don't forget, you can join us on our mobile app as well. It's available for free for you, both iPhone and Android available. You can just go out there, either one of those stores, or I think that's what they call them, search Home Gadget Geeks, and you can find that. We want to thank LastPass for their sponsorship of that app. A great way to listen on the road, on a train, in a plane, one of those kinds of things. Easy to get, best to stream. It is the best streaming option. I'm not going to lie. If you're on the road and you need to stream it, it's nearly impossible traveling to get the live show except through the app. So download it so you have it, and that way you've got it next time you're on the road in your life. Don't forget, rate, subscribe, review on Apple Podcasts if that's the way you do it. Subscribe and click on the notification bell if you're doing this thing on YouTube. We have both a live channel and a recorded channel. If you subscribe to the live channel, you get notified every time we go live, which isn't tonight you would have got notified twice because it's the second time we tried it. But you want to get those notified, and then don't forget, follow us on Spreaker as well. Mike Uyghur has the night off, a little family issue, and so I called my best friend from Saturday mornings from Ask the Podcast Coach, and we hang out every Saturday, 9:30 Central, 10:30 Eastern, out at AskThePodcastCoach.com. Dave Jackson. Dave, welcome to Home Gadget Geeks.
Jim, it's weird to see you in the dark. It's kind of like do you have the coffee going at night?
No coffee. Beer though.
Okay, well,
we always do plenty of that here in the evenings. If you join us on Saturday mornings, it's all podcasting. So for this audience, if you're not into that, you're not going to enjoy. Although, Dave, I'll tell you, it's we talk about podcasting, but there's a lot more to it than that. And the live audience, a little bit bigger than this one, not too much. A little bit bigger. The live audience is really dynamite, right? I mean, that's what makes Saturday mornings worth it. Right?
Oh yeah, because there have been times when I'm like, oh, we've got a couple stories and that's it. There's nothing really going on, and nothing new. And then you're like, we just hope the chat room shows up, and they always do. And they always throw out a topic or a good question or something like that. So
yeah, we've relied on the chat room forever here. In fact, we were doing it live. The way I got on Ask the Podcast Coach is you were messing around with live, and I'm like, well, gosh, that's all I ever do. We should let me jump in and help you out with it. And pretty soon we've done 200 maybe. Are we up to 200?
Oh yeah, we're over 200. I think we're up to, here, I could tell you in a minute, but I was actually going, I need to go back and find like the first appearance of Jim Collison on the Ask the Podcast Coach show.
Oh no.
That would be,
oh no. I wonder what we talked about. It was probably all platform stuff, right?
Probably. Who knows?
Yeah. The live platform thing.
We're up to 214.
Okay. Wow. Yeah. 214 of those things just goofing around on Saturday morning. Well, today, brought you on to kind of talk some tech stuff. And surprisingly, the last time you were on, we did a lot of podcasting. We're still going to talk a little bit about it. It's hard for Dave and I to get together and not talk about it. But I think we're going to kind of come at it from a different angle. So hang tight with it. There's some really good stuff out there. We changed the format a couple weeks ago where we're doing conversation stuff that you submit to our Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/theaverageguy. And we'd love to have you come out there and do that. Many of you now have been starting to post in there on a weekly basis. We're bringing those in. A couple weeks back, 3, 5, 6 weeks back, I can't remember how many, Micah Librant came on. She's my co-host on Theme Thursday over at Gallup. She talked about an air fryer. And so Chris Townsend also jumped in our group this week and said he got himself a new air fryer. That's you can see a picture of it if you want out there. It is really, and let me make sure I've got the right one coming here. It's the Amazon link. Let me throw that. Oh, that's great. I love it when I put a link in the chat room or a link in the show notes, and then the link doesn't work. That's super frustrating. I'll fix that while Dave is talking. But he got one of those air fryers. We'll throw the link out there. Dave, you recently got one as well.
I'm on my second one.
Okay.
And the first one I bought off of, I got completely sucked into the infomercial because I want to cook healthy meals for my family, that how they do that. And it just looked great. And about for the first month and a half, it really is cool. Because what I would do, I would go out, buy boatloads of chicken, stack it up in this thing, put it in, hit a button, and then go back upstairs and continue working. And it beeps when it's done. You come down, you empty the basket, you're done. And it was fairly easy to clean. And it did take, it's got a pretty big footprint. So it took up a fair amount of counter space, but I have like a little a spot that's supposed to be for a washer and dryer that I have a bunch of shelves in there. So I just put it back there when I'm not using it, so I get my counter back. It was
they are
awesome.
kind of deceivingly large, right? I mean,
yeah, it's
you
like
look
a
at 'em on-
basketball. It's literally like a basketball sitting on your kitchen counter.
you kind of look at them on Amazon, and you're kind of thinking they're like this big.
Yeah,
Like I don't know why. I don't know how you're going to get chicken in an air
Right.
fryer that's this big, but in your mind, and then you actually see them. I saw one at Best Buy or one of the stores. They're good size. So first of all, pretty big. Okay, so
yeah.
you're having good times cooking stuff. Then
Good
what?
times. Set it and forget it kind of cooking. And I would clean the basket, and it says, when you're done, because the grease and stuff that's going on in there, it's not like the chicken is just suddenly not going to spray grease everywhere. And some of it, that grease goes up. Well, what it is you have this big heating coil on the top of the ceiling with a fan that blows it down on the food. And you're like, okay, that's cool. Well, and they say when you get done, clean it. And you kind of want to clean it before all the grease turns to like, goo. So you have this weird thing where you can't clean it when you just get done because it's, 300 degrees in there. And so you kind of wait, and I would just grab a handful of paper towels and reach up in there and wipe down the coil and wipe down the walls, wipe down everything. This worked great for a long time. Well, inside, I'm not sure what it is, but there's this little railing around the whole inside of this thing. It's just this little thing. And so grease is getting splattered up in there. And it's just like a little trough. So you have this little trough of grease. And so I throw my chicken in, hit the button, run upstairs, come back up here, still working. And all of a sudden I hear, it's not the beeping that the chicken is done. It's my fire alarm going off. And I'm like, what the heck? So I go downstairs, and it's literally, the smoke it just looks like, holy cow. And I go over and I look at this thing. And for those of you that are Kiss fans, it looks like it's the Ace Frehley fryer, because the smoke is just billowing out the back of this thing. And I'm like, holy cow, And so I unplug it, and I, kind of like, what's going on, and kind of look around, and I'm like, well, all right. And I, luckily the chicken was pretty much almost done anyway. So I batched that out, clean it up really good. And that's where I discovered, and one of the best things I use all the time. My brother got a pair. It looks like a hamburger helper. It's a big red rubber glove. I don't know what they're called. And they have like texture on them. So they're sticky.
Little dimples.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so I could finally get in there and clean it without worrying about, burning all the skin off my knuckles. And that's when I discovered this thing of grease. And I would clean that out. And it was always one of those where like, I was always like, I'd start cooking, but I was always like, I hope, because sometimes it did and sometimes it didn't. And so after like I had like 3 times when it just kept setting off the fire alarm. And I'm thinking my neighbors here in my apartment are like, okay, that guy's going to kill us all someday. And so I eventually got rid of it and got a Brio, which is the same thing. It's number one. I got a much smaller one. I mean, it was cool that I could dump like a whole chicken in there, but I'm like, I'll just buy a couple thighs and legs and throw that in there. And it's working great. And it's just a design thing, I think, where it's easier to clean. And the food, by the way, I didn't even mention that it does make really good food. It's a little different because for me, I just throw a bunch of, I just grab whatever's in my cupboard, and let's throw some pepper and a little garlic and whatever else is going on. And you end up with this really crunchy kind of skin on it. And as opposed to kind of fried chicken, which is usually some sort of batter, but it is quite yummy. And I love it. So I've done that. I've done, what else have I done in there? Onion rings. But usually I'm a big chicken guy, so I just throw chicken in there. And the one thing I did find out, you learn, because I know you're a big grill guy, the deep fry or the air fryer, throw it on, just leave, walk away. You cannot do that with a grill. I have basically some coal in my refrigerator right now that used to be a chicken, because I put it on there and I come out and it's just the the flaming grill of Oz. You're like, just like,
Yeah.
there's
If you
chicken in
if you
there
don't pay
somewhere.
attention, no, if you don't pay attention, you're gonna get it. Chris has had the Power Air Fryer XL version. I threw the link. The link will be in the show notes if you want to take a look. I asked him because Dave, I was reading this story before because you put this in the show notes. So I was like, "Hey, Chris, how'd you like it?" And he said my wife found it and made a brand decision off the price point. An Amazon gift card made it even cheaper. Home Gadget Geeks was helpful in showcasing the benefits of the large size and highlighting good things to cook. We made pizzas in it last night. Chicken tenders, vegetables. It's in daily use since we bought it. So that's the same one that you returned. Dave, yours, I threw a link in the chat room. Yours is, just for those on the audio, is the NuWave, and NuWave is NuWave, NuWave Brio Black 6-quart digital air fryer. Square instead of round.
Yeah.
It's got a digital, control panel on the top. Is it very difficult to use or pretty easy?
No, usually, and there's a button, you click it, like you put in your temperature and you hit preheat, and it basically heats it up. It beeps when it's there. You pull out the basket, you throw your chicken and put it back in. And what I always do is I'm always a little nervous around any kind of poultry. So I'll like pick chicken and then add like 4 minutes to it just to like, let's get that a little well done just in case. And the thing I liked, I think the other one had like kind of a thicker basket with holes in it. It was kind of like that copper looking thing. And it's one of those things that is quote non-stick. And after a month and a half, it's no longer non-stick. And that was the other thing. But this would like just rip up a sponge when you're trying to clean it. Where the one I have now is more like it's just really small wire. It's sturdy, but it's not like a pan with like holes in it. It's more like just a wire basket that seems to be a little more giving and a little easier to clean. In fact, you can actually take the bottom out of it and throw it in the dishwasher. So in fact, all those, you can grab everything and throw them in the dishwasher.
This is the current one that you have?
Yeah. So both of them, actually, you can throw the basket. There are parts of the other one that you could throw in the dishwasher, and now they have them where I was looking at, I think the link you had, now they make them where instead of having a basket, you have like little shelves. I think that's probably where he's making his pizza at, where you can kind of go either, or you could have a big basket of stuff, or you can put in, it's like an actual oven, almost like those little toaster ovens, only this is basketball sized.
Yeah. Well, you think this size, mini pizza would be perfect. Little personal pan pizza might work. I'm tempted, and I'm kind of glad I waited. The review, your new one, the NuWave, the Brio, because if I'm going to get one of these, I want it to be super easy to clean. Like I want to be able to pull that thing out and throw it in the dishwasher and be done. I don't want to have to get in there and scrub it out from time to time and make that work. I've been thinking I think in the winter, these would be really helpful. Maybe when you can't get out and grill. Speaking of that, Mark Robson in the chat room says he has the Tefal version. Everyone needs to try this. Microwave small potatoes for a couple of minutes. Toss them into the air fryer for about 20 minutes. They're fantastic. They pop open and fry from the inside.
Nice.
That sounds pretty delicious.
Yeah.
So maybe Dave, maybe you can give that a try and report back on how good that is.
They both have good safety features, because when you take this thing out, you basically have a bucket full of hot grease. Right. And so they both have a thing where you have to push a safety valve to pull the actual basket out of the thing that catches all the grease. Because when I was 5,
it doesn't magically get rid of the grease, right?
No, that's there, and then that's again where the red gloves come in handy, because whatever you're dumping the grease into, it's handy to get that before it turns into a giant bucket of sludge. It's always fun to clean.
Sweet potatoes, I imagine too. My daughter made some sweet potatoes the other day. She cut them up in little, maybe half-inch thick, and just slices, and she baked them for 425 for 20 minutes. Oh my gosh, a little olive oil, a little salt and pepper,
cinnamon,
super good. Yeah,
try cinnamon on. Oh, that's
we make good cinnamon butter for them. Like when we do them whole, you can throw them in the oven for 40 minutes and let just bake whole. Then make a cinnamon butter out of that, and they are just super delicious. So, well, 2 air fryer tech gadgets. Chris checking in on the Facebook page with his, really likes it. Dave going with the NuWave Brio, likes it. What's your favorite thing to, is it, they always show chicken, but what's your favorite thing to put in there, Dave?
Probably that's it.
Okay.
I've done, like I said, I've done chicken. I roasted some cauliflower in there one night. That was pretty cool. I've never done potatoes. I've done cut up potatoes, but the other thing is I have like zero, like I eat chicken and veggies. That's it. On occasion, I'll throw in a pork chop. If I go real crazy, I go buy a steak, but it's pretty much chicken morning, noon, and night.
Yeah. You know, yeah, there's tons of things you could do with it.
Yeah.
Emily's out there talking about Instapot. Emily, I'm going to have to get you on to talk Instapot because I've heard a lot of these. It's one of the new gadgets one of those new kitchen gadgets. So Emily, maybe we'll get you in a couple of weeks. We'll try and get you on to join us with Instapot. Well, good to hear that, Dave. When we think about those air fryers, just kind of a follow up to Chris's post in the chat room. John's been on vacation. John Biggs has been out on vacation, and he went out to Seattle, didn't join, but went to this museum. Actually, pretty fantastic. If you have not, I'll put the link out in the showroom. It's just livingcomputers.org. So you guys can, I'll throw that. Let me throw that in the chat room for you guys. Basically, it's like a setup. It's like my basement. Let's just put it that way. It's a whole bunch of working new and old and a whole bunch of gear and just a little bit of everything that's out there. And John is out in Seattle with his family, or was out in Seattle with his family. Got a chance to swing by the Living Computers section. They've got everything from Apples to the old Omega and some of those, to Ataris, to, you know, they got books and all kinds of great stuff. So John, there's a bunch of pictures that he took on our Facebook page. So John, thanks for posting those out there as well. Pretty cool. Dave, would that be something you'd like if you had a choice? Would you go out and see kind of this technology? I know you're kind of a gadget guy.
Yeah, I think this would be interesting because I'm the one picture they have where the guys are standing there and they're almost looking at computers that are like a walk-in closet almost. It's this big tall thing. And my dad was in computers before he got into truck driving, and he was back with like microfiche and that whole years.
Wow.
Yeah. And so when I see those, I'm like, I remember seeing rooms like that when my dad worked there. So, but yeah, I was laughing because I saw the Apple II in one picture here. So I think that'd be interesting just from a historic point, just to see, you know, and just laugh when it's like, when something came out and, you know, they had 64K of RAM and you're like, wow, at the time you're like, wait, 64K, not M. It's like crazy, but
they work in a lot of cases in this museum. They're working. And so I started programming on an Apple IIe in my sophomore year of high school. So that would have been 82, 83, somewhere in there. And, it would be crazy to go back to an Apple IIe, still, you know, no hard drives, just floppy. And we wrote basic code, you know, 10, go to 20, 20, if, you know, those kinds of statements.
Memories.
Lopta saying, yeah, and Lopta knows. I had a Timex Sinclair 1000 too, which the British version was the ZX81. I bought that my junior year, I want to say sophomore, junior year. Plugged it into the TV. You'd have to get a little RF converter and plug it in, and had a little, and the keyboard was awful because it was this little membrane keyboard, but it was terrible. So I didn't program it very much. It was novel, and then you would get books that had code, and you would you would spend all afternoon typing it in. Oh, it was terrible. And I couldn't
enter and have it go syntax error, and you're like, wait, what?
Oh yeah,
a comma somewhere.
No, and you could save it to a cassette. Like you could plug in a cassette deck to it and
for your backup.
Yeah, there was a command you would use, and I forget what it was. Save, I guess, save, and it would send it over to your tape deck. What do we call this? Tape recorder, I guess is what we call them. Super crazy. So John, thanks for posting that in the group as well. And then Kevin Schoonover, of course, if you're not in the group, you're missing Kevin Schoonover's deals. This guy is crazy with deals. Dave, this is the second time I've seen it this week, which is why I grabbed it out of our chat and brought it in here. This is a one of those pop-up screens. I don't know if you've ever seen. Now, I'm not a big let's go outside and watch a movie. That's just not one of the things that
I'm like, hey, let's watch it inside on the big screen with the surround sound, and there's no mosquitoes.
Right. Yes. Now, not everybody, I guess, struggles with mosquitoes or the hot weather. Like it's raining outside right now. But there is some attraction. You know, we've got some theaters here in the area that from time they'll do a big community party. They'll set up a big screen. But $90, $5 shipping. This was on Woot. I'll leave the let me get the link.
So
to
you
it.
need you need some sort of like projector, right? I'm assuming.
Yeah, you do. You would have, and some people have those, right? They have them as part of their home setup,
right?
You could take them out and set them up, pop some popcorn.
That would be cool. I could see having a party or something. And I know there's when I lived in Cleveland, there was a suburb, and they had an outdoor mall, which was one of the dumbest things. I want to go. You are in Cleveland, Ohio. You do realize about 6 months out of the year this is going to be worthless. But I think it was every Thursday they would have some sort of old movie. They're like, okay, we're going to watch Turner and Hooch or something, some old Tom Hanks movie. And you'd have all these people, same thing like in the picture here, people sitting on blankets and just chilling out, watching a movie, and they bring in a big sound system and the whole 9 yards.
Were you much like, we grew up in the era of drive-ins?
Oh yeah.
Were you a drive-in guy? Did you go out?
Dude, I remember going to the drive-in. There were 5 of us, my family, and I was so little, I laid down in the back of a VW Bug. So you got the back seat, and I was back there. I think I was 6. And then, we did that a bunch. I remember once, one of my favorite memories was, it was a bigger car, and I ate, it makes no sense. Let's take the kids to a drive-in, pump them full of candy and sugar and greasy popcorn, and then hope they fall asleep so we can watch the movie in peace. Well, we didn't. And then on the way home, I got sick and actually vomited out the back window.
Oh, yikes.
And what was fun is I'm looking back at the car behind us, and it's a cop car. So I got to puke on a policeman, or at least their car. So that was one of my favorite. But and then of course, when you're older, I do believe I have consumed Mad Dog 2020 at a drive-in theater once, which was not a good idea. But yeah, they were fun. It was it was horrendous. And then I remember when they went to the thing where instead of putting the big clunky speaker on the window, you could tune to an AM station and achieve that awesome AM radio sound. How about you? Are you much of a...
No, I was not a fan of drive-ins. We had a couple. They were kind of on their way out. They were kind of ratty. I never, like you said, I wouldn't think of sitting out on the lawn and watching a movie. I would want to see it in the house, in the air conditioning with the stereo, right? Those kinds of deal. But they're kind of, drive-ins are kind of making a little bit of a comeback.
Yeah.
I'm noticing some cities now have these boutique drive-ins. They're really nice. You can go to them. They've got a lot of great things. I think now they're FM, so you can at least get some good sound.
Some stereo going on at least.
Something a little better than AM.
When I was in high school, I had found a super nice, I think it was a 1975 Chevy Impala, and you could literally, then it was one of those bucket seats, so you could hide dead bodies in the trunk, and then you could lay down in the front, which is, when you're in high school on a date, that's awesome. So that was so I had fun at drive-ins.
Emily says that's how they went to movies when they were kids. When the kids were babies, they'd fall asleep in the car and finally see the movie that they wanted to see. Quasi says Melody 49 Drive in Ohio, big buckets of popcorn. So that's where he's going. I think Loptis mentioned Harvest Moon uses FM for the audio. Quasi also mentions the dual screens. You could look behind, some of them had 2 or 3 screens, so you could watch here and look at the one behind you.
You're going for the PG, and then you turn around and watch the R-rated movie behind you. Of course.
Emily says, "Aha, the radio station sound has gotten better. Don't worry." So FM's better. Back on that. And then other Jim says, "Bucket seats ended romance."
Yes, that's true. And see, we figured out, because this was literally like fairly close to my house. And we would go, and it was always fun to see if you could hop the fence and just sit back there and watch the movie for free, because you could hear the audio, everybody's speakers going, but the police patrolled that fence pretty heavy, so you had to kind of watch.
It's a crazy, I remember, I don't know, maybe a decade ago when video, and we got DVD, and we were mailing it, and I remember everybody saying like this was the death of theaters,
right?
Oh, they're going to close down. There'll be no more theaters. And everybody's worried about pirating, and people are going in with video cameras and, recording movies in the theaters and stuff like that. And I just remember the industry being so worried about that. And Dave, I can't tell you how many I go to these movies now, and one, they're jammed. And
Right.
two, I just spent $13 to get a ticket,
Yeah.
maybe 15 if I paid the convenience fee to pick my seat, which is really, really cool, by the way.
Yeah.
And then it's like $90 for popcorn,
Oh,
and
yeah.
people are just shelling it out. Right?
I got a movie pass card, which is $10. Go to as many
Is
movies
it
as you
still
want.
working? Is that
It's
still working?
It hasn't
Okay.
gone out of business yet.
Okay.
In fact, AMC just came out with a new version. It's like $12 a month. You can go to 20 movies. So it's interesting that Movie Pass is losing all sorts of money, and yet somebody's come out as a competitor. I'm like, wait, didn't you see they're bleeding money? But I go in, so I don't pay for the. I don't pay. Of course, I'm paying, but
Right.
I'm not paying for the ticket. $13 for
Yeah.
a small popcorn and a small Coke.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is why they're doing this. They don't care. They're making.
No, they're just crushing it.
They probably got 68 cents in the pop and Coke, and they're making $13. They're like, whatever it takes to get people in here.
People used to get pissed about that, and the lines are in our theater. The lines are longer to get popcorn and soda than they are. And I'm not going to lie, I go in there from time to time. We've got a coupon for it, which brings it down to about $25 instead of $30. And people are just handing their money over. In our theater, like they put a bar in, they've put restaurants in, like they have a theater where they serve food.
Oh yeah,
like,
nachos, hot dogs,
pizza, like gourmet.
Nothing goes better with a big bucket of greasy popcorn than a Jägermeister. Little Jaeger and popcorn for the.
Would you like some butter in that Jaeger?
Yeah, we had a thing in Cleveland where you would go in and it was recliners, like leather recliners. And you would sit there and it was.
Yeah, that's it's like first class.
Yeah.
And you reserve the seat, right? Yeah.
You reserve your seat.
Right.
And I was amazed. And because to me, we'd go to like the late movie trying to avoid all the crowd. And you'd go in there and you'd fall asleep because you're like, oh, this is awesome.
No, totally. If the movie's boring, just take a nap, for sure. Dave, do you rip? So a lot of our listeners do something, they'll get a DVD, they'll get a movie. This is what everybody was worried about, which never really happened for the average guy. But when you get a DVD or a movie, do you rip it? Do you back that up? Do you make a digital form of it at all?
I do not. In fact, I just learned, because I forget what I was trying to use before to rip it, and I could never find something that worked. And you can do it in I think it's Handbrake is a free tool that you can use to do that.
I'm not sure. Well, and you can rip once you've got that thing saved. Yeah, you could put it in and then rip it the files right off the DVD. Yeah, right. You could use Handbrake to get that done.
Because I wanted to. I was doing something for my church, and I had a DVD, and it was like an hour-long documentary, and I'm like, well, I need this to be like 38 minutes, so I'm like, I'm not stealing it. I just want to, make my own version. And so I finally was like, asked Uncle Google, and it was like Handbrake, and I'm like, that's already on my computer. So I just took it and edited it in Camtasia, and then put it on a thumb drive and took it back to my church and played it on the big screen with.
Have you upgraded your version of Handbrake in a while? They all of a sudden have some brand new formats that the old version they didn't have. So you get like a bunch of HD formats of, you can go 720 or 1080 or you can kind of specify the formats that you want. So that's, if you haven't looked at your Handbrake, but you don't save, like you don't take the raw files. I've been using DVD Fab, DVD FAB, just like it sounds, and you can use their trial version. It doesn't rip any of the meta, but it will take the movie file and move it over for you and save it kind of as a backup copy. So I'm one of those crazy guys. I've got both the files, as they sit on the DVD, and then actually I could buy, and I think I'm going to buy the software. It's like $50.
Yeah.
So it's not terrible to get the full version.
I don't have a ton of DVDs. The thing that I need to do, because I've got literally boxes and boxes of them, is old home movies on VHS. In fact, I actually have some old home movies on 8mm from when I was a little kid. And that's the stuff I need to get transferred because, after so many years, some of that stuff. I remember the last time I watched my mom's wedding, the movie broke halfway through. It's just because it's so brittle. We're like, oh, okay, we should probably tape that back together. And the next time we play that, be playing it into something that's going to convert it into a digital format.
Emily makes a good point. about the movies that the DVDs have the extra. In a lot of cases, you have the extras.
Mhm.
And when you stream them, you're not getting in a lot of cases, you're not getting any of those extras. You're not getting the deleted scenes, although you can go to YouTube and get all the in a
Right.
lot of cases get it. But that DVD experience of going in there and getting all the extras and whatever extra stuff came with it was one of those experiences. I don't know why we're still buying DVDs from time to time.
Yeah.
You would think everything's completely streaming, but we're still picking some up. I just picked up The Greatest Showman on DVD. We picked up both of the new Marvel ones that just came out, the Volume 1 and Volume 2, Guardians of the Galaxy. All the we got all the Thor ones. So Sarah really likes them in that format, and so we're still buying DVDs, but I'm ripping them. I bring them in, rip them to save them in case something happens to them, and then I'm converting them to a different format so I can use them with Plex. But so most of the time, how do you think you watch your movies most of the time? You streaming them?
Yeah, I'm usually streaming them because I've got Hulu, I've got HBO, and I've got Amazon Prime. So I can usually pretty much catch any movie I want. And then if I don't, I just Redbox it and get the DVD. So
Yeah, that's Redbox is a great way. I had missed Justice League. It had come and gone. I missed it in the theaters. I could have went and bought it, but I was like, I'll just go to Redbox and pick it up. We have one just down the street. Those are horribly convenient.
Well, and did you know that if you sign up, you can actually like reserve it at the box?
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have to go through. You just get there and log in or whatever. It's like, oh, hey, here's your movie.
Yep, you can buy it at the box too. Lots of they start at some point in their algorithm, they start offering them for sale. They got to get rid of them, so they sell them for a couple bucks. And if you're on their site, they have a pretty good app, by the way. If you're on their site, you can just buy them from them. So not a bad way to get DVDs. It is interesting. We're still not like streaming did not put DVDs out of business. There are still plenty of ways to get them, right?
We just had there's a chain here called Family Video, and they just like built and opened up a brand. And I'm like, really? Somebody's going to pay to build a building and open a franchise? And I'm like, and for the record, it's usually pretty busy. So again, there are people out there that are, they don't want to have to, because I don't know about you. Every time I go to Redbox, there's two of them literally within 5 blocks of where I live. And I always get there and it's like grandpa and the 3 kids and nobody can decide what they want. And meanwhile, I'm sitting there going, I want to watch Black Panther. I'll take 4 seconds, So that's the only thing that hasn't quite solved is what happens when there's more than one person.
Does your Family Video have a pizza place attached to it? Like a Marco's or like some other?
It does, yeah.
Is it a Marco's? Pretty good pizza, by the way. But if it is,
I have to go drive by and see. But
it's an old model, and you think, and they're like giving away movies out of the pizza place all the time.
See, that's weird because now I think about it, because there was a video place right by my house growing up, and right next door was a pizza place.
Yeah, and so you go into the pizza place, and they're like, "Hey, are you renting a video tonight?" And if you buy, I think $20 or more, they give you a free video. And I was, sure. And they here's a sticker, go pick out, you can't get the top running ones,
right?
But, go pick out a video in this section or whatever. And pizza's pretty good. I mean, it's one of my favorite pizza places here in town. So
nice.
The movie theaters didn't go out of business. They're still alive and well. What seems to have suffered is not the high-end movie places, but the low-end movie places.
Yeah.
Like those have just closed out in droves, right?
There was one that's now converted, but I remember there was one, it was a smaller, it only had 4 theaters as opposed to 37 or whatever the different complex was. And it was great because you could go see a movie right before it went to DVD for like $2. And then the popcorn was like $3. It was super cheap. And it was this great movie experience. And I think the problem with that is, I think the minute, I don't think movies last that long. Like they go in, they're out within like 3 weeks and then they're on DVD. So I think we missed that time frame now where there was like, oh, it's out of the big theaters, it's into the little theaters, and then it finally goes to DVD. And I think that middle tier just got like kapoofed, because there was one in a neighborhood I used to go to, and I loved it because it was an old theater. It was like one theater, like the old, like you go in and it's, it probably seats, I don't know, 200 people in there. It's huge. And they have a stage. It's awesome. And I used to go there, and movies were $1 on Monday. And the same thing was awesome. And now I see where they have they have The Incredibles 2 right now.
Right.
So they've gone back to, but I'm like, I wouldn't want that job to figure out like, okay, what one movie are we going to pick to have, this week? But yeah, you're right. At least that's the way it is in my little town, is that middle rung has just disappeared.
Lopt in the chat room says both his local family video stores have pizza in the same building. The one next to in the next town has a Jimmy John's. Yeah, that's a food and pizza thing, easy to pick up. I'm surprised the pizza place doesn't sell more candy, but I think that's because it's being sold. I never go into the video side. That's kind of, the pizza place has such good pizza that that's our Friday night. Like anytime nobody wants to cook, I'm like, well, let's go to Marco's. And it's $9 a large. It's super good. I'll have that for dinner Friday night. Lunch after Ask the Podcast Coach on Saturday. We wrap up at 11 or so. Yeah. I'll go up and warm up the pizza. And then maybe there's one piece left over for Sunday, Sunday breakfast or something like that. So
fighting over it. No, that's mine.
No, nobody. I am the king of cold pizza or leftover pizza.
I actually think I like pizza. The same thing with chicken. Both those. I almost like the cold version, if not better than the original version.
Well, there's lots of there's lots of memories wrapped up in those movie stuff, all the way from the experience of going to the movie theater, the experience of going to the video store, the changeover from VHS to DVD, the food that goes along with it. You mentioned at least 3 times giant buckets of popcorn, right? You know what we're talking about? There's lots of good movies, or there's lots of good memories wrapped up in that, the idea of having movies. In our communities, in the home service show community, we talked a lot about storage and storing those movies and how you would get them and stream them. I should announce, so if you're a Plex Pass subscriber, so Dave, have you ever used Plex? Are you familiar with the Plex app?
I've heard of it. I know there's podcasting on it now, and I wasn't till recently that I heard how many, I forget what show I was listening to, and they talked about how it's huge. In a certain community, it's just ginormous. And it was like, it might've been you that were talking about something about if such and such app has this and they have like 15 times that. And so, but no, I need to investigate it. I've never played with it.
Plex is interesting because you can run it as a server, or you can just run it as a client. You in most cases, inside your house, it's really kind of meant for the set up your own personal media site, so to speak. It'll do music, it'll do movies. They just added podcasting, which I think is kind of funny. But the big change for Plex this time around is that Movie Guide is now like TiVo Movie Guide, or like the TV Guide. Like, it used to be really hard. It was kind of this weird, you couldn't find anything. It was awful. And they wanted a grid guide, right? But you have to pay. Grid Guide has a patent on it. And so if you want to use the grid guide, you have to pay the patent. Well, the Plex was an up and comer, and they didn't want to pay that. So recently they figured that out. And so now Grid Guide is available on Plex. So if you're a Plex Pass subscriber, $5 a month to be able to get the access to their most recent software, you're getting, and you're using, Dave, a lot of the folks that use Plex in our communities connect them to over-the-air HD tuners. So they're pulling TV down, right? They're not paying cable. They've cut the cord. They're not doing that. Do you watch over the air, or do you use cable?
I have tried that. I just, it must be where I live or whatever. Because I was like, look, if I can get NBC, ABC, Fox, and what am I missing? CBS. I'll be good. If I can get the main channels, and I could never get all 4. In fact, most of the time I'd either get 2 or 3.
And you need 2 antennas in some markets to do that, right? You need
and
one
I was
pointing one way and one pointing
and
the
like the one was like, as long as I stood next to the window, doing the weeping willow, it was just like, okay, that's not going to work.
The yoga pose, is that the new yoga pose? Weeping willow.
It was like, as long as I just tape this to the ceiling, and the cable's hanging down, I'm like, that's not distracting at all. No, and so that's when I went. I ended up going with Hulu. I called up my cable company. I said, give me the fastest internet you got. Canceled the TV, and so far it's okay. There's a couple of quirky things. To me, it drives me nuts that there's only one profile, me, and yet every time I turn that on, it's like, okay, who's watching? And I'm like, still me. I would love to, like, if there's one profile, just go. It's like we don't have to decide, but they haven't figured that out.
Well, Plex has figured out the grid guide. So for all listeners, and there's a bunch of you I know that listen to me that use Plex because we talk about it all the time. The new grid guide is out. So if you haven't checked that out recently, you might want to download the most recent version of Plex and get that done. It really does make it look good and a lot easier to use. And so scheduling is now super easy, or it's a lot easier than it used to be. And really a very nice upgrade. You have to be on the Plex Pass. So you're like, some of you are lifetime. You bought the lifetime back when I should have bought it at like $50. I think it's 120 lifetime now, or $5 a month.
So what is it? So if somebody doesn't have Plex, is it kind of like a Netflix?
It's a media center. It's a personal media center.
So yeah, so you can make your own, basically.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You can stream it as well yourself. So like if you could take your video library and make it available through the app to yourself. So if you're one of these, not everybody wants to do a subscription service. Some people have gigantic libraries of movies or music. They don't want to do the subscription. They can be their own subscription service.
Got it.
Yeah. So you can be on the road, like your phone. One of the cool features, so I have a Plex app on my phone. I could stream it out my own internet and watch it, or I could sync it before I travel, and it will download a copy that's optimized for this device on my phone. Yeah, and I could watch it if I'm going to be in a plane. I could watch it that way. So yeah, think of it like a media server, and that's why they added podcasting to it, right? Is that because they wanted to? There's some folks who, for whatever reason, sit down at their computer, maybe, I guess, or are in Plex all the time, and maybe on their phones wanted to have an option to another place to go. Let's talk about this, the state of the podcasting, because Plex is in this space, the state of the podcasting app. All of you listening right now are probably, for the most part, 99% of you. I know there's a few of you who download this MP3 and listen to it, but most of you are listening to it through, if you're not listening live, through some kind of app. This week, I think it was this week or late last week, Google finally, or is trying to, I still don't believe it's true, and I still think it's a POS, but Google's trying to jump in and get their own dedicated app to get this going, right? Apple's been in the space forever. If you're on an iPhone, you're probably using the Podcasts app to listen. It works pretty well for most people. Dave, give a quick, on the Google side, you've looked into this new app. What do you think?
Well, I was surprised because it's incredibly light in the features section, and it's somewhat intuitive. And what I see most people raving about is the search capability. And I'm a fan of, like, I don't really think there's a discover problem. Everybody loves to talk about that. But like, at first I wasn't playing anything, but usually when you go into an app, you see like the skip and the speed up and the slow down stuff. And I didn't see any of that. And I was like, holy cow, there's no features of this at all. Well, those do show up. I'll sit here and turn off I'm trying to get something to play here. But those do finally come up, but I see where it's buffering. So it seems to be streaming all the stuff. And to me, that's there is I'll hold this up here. You can see there's a skip forward and there's a speed up and such. But when you go into the settings of it, there's you can give them feedback, remove unfinished episodes after 30 days, remove completed episodes after 24 hours. So it sounds like it's streaming, but it's downloading it. And that's okay. I hate this thing. But anyway, so it's weird because it doesn't take much to figure out how to use it, because there's nothing to it. You search for it, you click play, you can say subscribe. So if I were to go here and type in Home Gadget Geeks, I'm assuming you're all set.
I hope so. I think I am. I think I looked that one up.
Yeah, and of course I'm trying to type on a keyboard.
While you're looking that one up, Emily says it's streaming unless you manually download them right now.
Yeah. So
I get the feeling it's still kind of half baked.
Yeah, there you are, and you got a subscribe button. So that part is easy, and I can see all the episodes, and there's a play button. So it's not horrible. You know, it is your absolutely bare bones podcast app. I don't think this is gonna, people are talking about this could double the number of downloads. Well, it could, but the thing I'm finding, especially on this, because I bought this tablet just because this feature was coming out, and this is the Galaxy Tab E-Lite. And I just looked at the guy, I go, this is Android, right? And he goes, yep. And I go, I didn't realize there were so many different varieties.
Oh, yeah.
And like, I can barely run Pocket Casts on this thing. And anything I download, almost every app. Okay, shut up. I'm trying to get this to turn down the volume.
Now that you turn it on, all the notifications.
Yeah, all the notifications are going on. But like, I try to load Pocket Cast. It's like, this is not really optimized for this device. And I'm like, okay, now I would expect that on like an Amazon Fire tablet, maybe, because I always heard that was kind of like Amazon's own version of Android. But I thought this was just good old Android, and it's apparently not. So, but it's not.
It may not be Android that's holding up, it may be the hardware.
That could be.
Yeah, because it's probably pretty underpowered. You didn't pay a lot for that, right?
No, this
that
was like $90. So I think that's, again,
probably pretty underpowered.
You get what you pay for.
You do.
Yeah.
You do. A lot of folks in the chat room are using Pocket Casts. So Google's got some new options coming. I don't think they're ready for prime time. I feel like this is Saturday morning, so we'll move on here. Not ready for prime time yet. You're using Pocket Casts. I think a lot of folks, I use Overcast still.
Yeah, I mean, to me, you will pry Overcast out of my cold dead hands. I love that.
Yeah. No, it's a good one. There's a bunch out there that are going. Yeah. What I wanted to say to you guys is, if you're Google sounds like they're getting around to this. If you're listening to the show and you're an Android user, there may be a day coming soon when you can actually use their app if you want to do that. If you don't, it's way behind. It's brand new, but I thought I'd let you know. While I had Dave on here with me, I thought, and it had just come out, I thought it was a good thing to mention.
Hot off the presses.
One of the things I also mentioned, Facebook announced this week that looks like they're starting to pilot the ability to charge monthly subscription fees to access the groups. Today, you can lock a group down, you can make it public, but there's no money changing hands, Dave. In the world of podcasting and in the world of groups that we have, all of a sudden that seems, because you have a membership site, right?
Yeah.
And so it appears they've found some business cases where there's some people who want groups but want to be able to charge for them. Would you just, it's just on Facebook, but do you think you could charge for access to a group on Facebook?
I could see people doing that. I could see, because we've seen people sell stuff at insane prices. So I can see just saying, look, this has the biggest of the big shot smarty pants people in it, and blah, blah, blah. And all you got to do is it's $5 a month. And I can see people doing that. My question is, what happens now when somebody goes in, they start to be a bit of a butthead, and you kick them out? Mm-hmm. Do they get to request a refund? I mean, that's because to me, I like the fact, because now you have people with skin in the game. And so now it's, but on the other hand, some of the groups I'm in, I just go into lurk and see what people are talking about. So am I going to pay them $5 a month to go in and lurk? No, but I think it's an interesting idea. I'm kind of surprised it hasn't happened sooner, because they're really popular. I mean, there's whatever it is, the one Podcasters Hangout has like 17,000 people in it or something like that. 17,000 times $5. And, you figure Facebook's going to take a nice chunk of that. So, and if they're going to quit selling data to everybody, they got to make money some way. Yeah.
Well, I think I'm not sure what the cut is at this point. $4.99 to $29.99 a month for membership into the groups. They're testing it out with parenting and cooking group. Imagine that, cooking groups first.
Yeah.
And then from the article, it says, for now, the feature is still an experiment on mobile, and Facebook won't be getting a cut of the subscription fees. As part of the standard App Store and Play Store policies, Apple and Google will be taking a percentage of the user subscription fees via iOS and Android. However, still, this is just the beginning of Facebook's efforts to monetize groups, which, unlike the newsfeed, does not rely on advertising. So it's interesting. I thought I'd throw that in there since
Would you sign up for a group?
Well, Tony in the chat room said he pays for it. He pays for access to a group. If it's $5 and I'm realizing $5 of value in it, yeah, heck yeah, I'd be in it if that was a value to me. I mean, I do some Patreon. I support some people on Patreon that I don't get anything out of, and I don't ask for it, but it's their value. Their content is valuable to me,
and that's where I see it kind of in this. Number one, if you get value out of it, because right now I have one for one of my shows, and if you sign up on Patreon, I add you to my private Facebook group, and I'm like, well, let's just get Patreon out of the picture. Sign up and pay me, and that would make that a whole lot easier.
Right. Yeah. Who knows? I think it'll be a model that will work for some. I think it's coming to, coming to theaters near you
Yeah.
here soon. And speaking of coming to theaters near you, I didn't realize this, but Instagram this week has reached the 1 billion user mark, which, people have been saying Instagram is coming on for a while. One of the things that Instagram has gotten really popular with, or they're hoping to get popular, is this new IGTV, right? So remember, we used to Periscope and we used to do all those things. Well, it looks like Instagram is going to have that ability now too, to start these live streams on the phone and broadcast them out via Instagram. Instagram is not something this network, this Home Gadget Geeks, anybody's ever asked for. Like, not one of my listeners have ever said, yeah, I'm totally on Instagram. We've got a few in the chat room. Are you guys on Instagram? I mean, is it something you're using?
It's hilarious because I came on Instagram this year and I think I've done 3 posts.
Yeah.
It's just, I guess, because I just heard, I forget what show I was listening to, and they were talking about social media, and it really is now like Facebook is for old people and Instagram is where all the kids are. Because they were, forget what I was listening to, and they said they were going to ask their kids about something on Facebook, and they're like, wait a minute, you think kids are on none of my kids are on Facebook. They're all on Instagram, and they're on Instagram almost exclusively. Like, they've given up on Twitter. It's all Instagram all the time.
Yep. And think of Facebook with no words, and the words are kind of buried, right? If you can put words that they're kind of buried. Lots of things you can do with the pictures. It's a force to be reckoned with. And so, if you're not on it, your friends are probably in a lot of cases. Dave, I've had a hard time just using it. Not because it's hard. It's not top of mind. Yet the pros that I work with that are 20 years younger than me, they're all over Instagram. When I do look at it, I'm like, holy crap, I missed a ton of pictures, on this thing, because they've been posting them. But 1 billion, it's a lot of people.
I gotta say, that's one of those things that people say. And if you actually think about, like, if those people, like, if you try to get 1 billion people together, that would just be, the state of Texas, like, just side by side, a sea of people. Because when you think about these big concerts, whatever, Woodstock or whatever, they haven't had any big outdoor festivals in a while, but those were maybe 1 million people, if that, probably a couple 100,000. So when you say 1 billion people, that's that's a country and then some.
Well, we'll have links in the show notes to those articles. They're all Verge articles that I grabbed, but some good stuff. It was interesting to me. I wanted to run that by you. Maybe we can talk about it on Saturday morning, a little more in depth, a little more appropriate. But this demographic that listens to the show, I'm not sure there's many. I'm sure there's some, but I'm not sure they might be using Facebook more. So kind of interested. If you have any comments or thoughts on any of those, of course, you can send me an email, jim@theaverageguy.tv. Dave, I got a couple new pieces of equipment this week. That one was for need.
Okay.
Well, I thought it was, to be honest with you, and ended up not being the problem. But I'm going to nerd out here really quick. So I'm showing it on the screen. So your network starts having problems, and for whatever reason, mine was just having lots of problems. And I thought, I have little Zycell, I think that's called Zycell. I had 2 8-port Zycell routers in the house. Now I'm a gadget geek, so I had all 16 full. And I just got wires everywhere. I'm that living museum. I'm that living computer museum, right? I mentioned that. So I've had these 2 switches in place, and they've been working fine. And then I was having some trouble with the network, and I was moving some things around. And since I started doing that, my network really didn't ever really work right. I mean, I was just struggling a little bit with it. And so one morning I came down, and it was dead. It just wasn't working anymore. And so I was like, I'm moving some things around and trying some things out. And I'm like, you know what? One of those switches has gone down. And other Jim asked, managed or not managed? This is an unmanaged switch. Let me just say, I put this up here, but let me say what it is. It's a TP-Link TLSG 1024D. Okay, link in the show notes if you want to. Here, I'll put the specs to it. It's the least expensive, I think, version. I picked it up at Office Depot or Home Depot, one of those, for $89. It runs retail $99. I got, they're running a deal on it. I was able to buy it, pick it up in the store day of. It was actually really cool. Don't tell anybody. I actually bought it during church. So it was a Sunday morning. When I woke up Sunday morning, I was checking my network. It was down. I had to go to church. So I was like, well, I'll go to church. So during the sermon, I pulled out my phone and I ordered
You
it from Office
heathen.
Depot. I know. I ordered it and bought it during church, and then had it and then picked it up on my way home after church. 89 was the retail on it for me. Unmanaged green 24 port switch, not sexy. It just works, right? So I'm thinking, oh, cool. So I'm going to get 8 more ports out of this. This is going to be awesome. So my network's going to grow. So as I'm disconnecting things in the network, I realized I had a network connected to itself. So I had plugged one in, and then I had just plugged another one in, just 2 in the same. That doesn't work. That screws up your network when you do stuff like that. And so it was the actually the routers, the switches, the small switches I have are just fine. I'm going to actually move those downstream in my network. So I've got a couple spots where I've got switches out, like in the living room. I got a bunch of devices out there that I ran one cable out, and I need to, and it doesn't have a very robust switch out there. So that's going to get a new switch. I put a new switch here where I got some server equipment. So in the end, it worked out pretty well. And darn it, it was Father's Day. So
there you go.
Bought myself.
Happy Father's Day to you. There.
I bought myself. Besides my kids coming over and us smoking cigars on Saturday night, which is pretty awesome, by the way.
Right.
We got some. I got a new switch, so pretty cool. I needed it anyways, to be honest with you, and it was pretty handy. So that came in. That was a little Santa. Nice. Went out and bought those for me, and then. Dave, you don't have to worry about this at all, but I live in a house and sleep next to another person. And both of us, I'm 50. I can't say how old she is, but she's 2 years younger than me, and I'm 50. So, but I can't say how old she is.
Right.
And so we're both pretty snorers, right? And I can't, like, I've gotten so old, I can't sleep next to somebody that's snoring. I don't sleep soundly enough, and I don't think most people do. This week, again, out on the Verge, because that's where I like to go sometimes to get it. I know not everybody likes that site, but Bose, my friends over at Bose, have released a new pair of sleep buds that play smooth sounds instead of music. For $250, you get these 1.4 gram they're made to feel weightless. If you look at the pictures of them, they've got these things that kind of contour to your ears. Because I don't know about you, if you use cans over your ears, I use earbuds. Earbuds in your ears for 3 or 4 hours, right? Yeah. Can get a little scratchy. These, by the way, Bluetooth enabled, but they don't play music. You can't play music to them. They have their own music set that's available right now. They ship 10 songs. Or 10 hours of music. It's not really music, it's sounds, it's nature sounds, running water, fan, think of all those things that you want, crickets, think of all those sounds that help you. And the sounds are optimized to drown out traffic and snoring. It's pretty awesome. Like some sound audio engineer went in there and figured out, okay, at what frequencies do we need to play these sounds so that it drowns out somebody else's snoring? Or because even, I don't know about you, but even if you wear those noise canceling headphones, they're really good at noise canceling these high pitched sounds like the airplane and some of those background noise, but you can still hear people talking to you. They don't totally cut out. It's not like you're totally deaf when you're listening to those things. So it just had a Kickstarter campaign, and for those that jumped in on the Kickstarter, they got them. They're going to get them for $150. The retail on these coming out here pretty soon, $250. Wow. Dave, sleep is worth something though. Yeah, and it's got me thinking. Like I've tried, the sponge ones. I've tried the plastic ones. I've tried digging my eardrums out. I've tried, I'm in another room at this point. It's one of those kinds of things that it's easier just to pop over to the other room and I know I snore too. So I don't know, 250, Dave. What do you think? Do you have a problem sleeping at all? Were you
I don't. In fact, I'm one of those guys that I will run hard, and when it's time to go to bed, it's because I'm about ready to fall asleep at my computer or wherever I'm at. And so when I hit the pillow, I am out. In fact, my ex-wife used to joke because she would go in to brush her teeth and come in and I'd be out. She's like, look, I'm not brushing even 2 minutes probably, and you're done. The only thing that I would kind of go, the fact that I can only use them for, I get why, I can only listen to, the stuff, but I'm like, for $200, man, or 250, I want to be able to listen to Metallica while I'm at it, but
Nope.
that's not going to put me to
Not for
sleep.
now.
Yeah.
Not for now. Yeah. Couple comments in the chat room. Tony said, you can get a sleep apnea test. We could. I'm pretty sure that I'm going to have to wear some
Oh, you
gear.
and me both.
Yeah, it's just as we get older and fatter, it's really the weight that does it. It's when you put on a few extra pounds, you sleep on your back. I actually sleep on my side. By the way, they're saying these earbuds, they're fine for side sleepers. They won't, you would think sometimes when you lay on your side. They say they're fine for side sleepers as well. Quasi says, doesn't running water sound make you get up in the middle of the night to have to use the bathroom? I love rain. I don't know about you. We've had endless amounts of rain here in Omaha in the last week or so, and I love the sound of rain. Do you like a thunderstorm or a rain sound?
Yeah, anything really. What I do is I have an air cleaner that I turn on, so it's just a fan. And if I'm on the road, there's an app called Bedtime. Let me see here. I just had it. Bedtime fan.
Is it white noise?
It's a little picture of a fan. And it says, do you want to upgrade? And I'm like, no, thanks. And I pick my speed. I set a timer, and there's my fan. And then it, of course, puts on some sort of ad that I then have to click away. But
that fan doesn't sound good. Maybe it was the audio.
But. Yeah, I just need white noise basically.
Yeah,
but it works great for me.
There are white noise generators on your phone that you could do as well. And I should try that, to be honest, to see if I can put the phone right next to me, maybe crank it up a little bit to see if that, because to be honest, I don't need much. When I was younger, I was able to sleep through anything. Mm-hmm. Doesn't matter if I go to bed at 3 a.m. and a cricket farts outside, I wake up. Like I don't, it doesn't matter how late or what it is. I've gotten more sensitive to sounds, or light. I got to have it, I have to have it super, super dark in the room, so I don't know.
Yeah. I'm amazed because I bought black curtains for my bedroom and I've yet to put them up. And so I sleep with my back to the window with like a pillow almost over my head so I can make it pitch black. But the reason my ex-wife used to get mad, because it would be a race to see who could fall asleep first, because that meant the other person was going to have to try to sleep with the other person snoring. So that was the whole thing. Whoever got to sleep first wins.
Well, and I know, totally. I've been doing this thing where I just stay up late.
Yeah.
Easy for a tech guy, right? Easy for a podcaster. I stay up late hoping I'll just be exhausted, and then it still doesn't work. So this has been an interesting, I may try these because it is, I don't bother Sarah. I don't bother her enough. If it bothers her, she just put earplugs in.
Just to be one of those,
but I can't do that.
I wonder if there's any place where you can test them, which in a way is kind of weird because they do fit right in your ear. And I'm like, now we got ear goo.
For 250. Yeah. For 250. Yeah, you want to make sure it's going to work. Like you like them. I mean, that's pretty steep, So
that's a chunk of change.
Yeah. Well, it's apparently cricket farts outside is going to become a new block in the next bingo card that we have going on here. McCabe, Dave, you also made the podcast. Someone put in the chat room, you have the perfect voice. Dave McCabe does Reset. I podcasted with Dave on Home Server Show for a lot of years. Dave has a really deep, he's kind of got these deep tones. And yeah, he does have a voice. Maybe I could just have him record some things and it would just, lullaby. Isn't there a podcaster that does, what's the name?
Sleep with Me. Drew, I don't know, I forget his last name, but he does a show where he talks, not in like a monotone voice to where he was boring, but he just has this delivery and he talks about, I can remember the one he was like reading coupons or something, but it's something that's like, he's not just saying like kangaroo, blue, breath mint, tablet. He's not just saying stupid stuff. He's just talking. It's like really boring. He's purposely really boring. And then the fun part, of course, is all his advertising is up front. Because if it was at the end, nobody'd hear it because he's put you to sleep. So But
You got to get that advertising in early.
that's it.
Oh, that's Ackerman.
Yeah,
Drew Ackerman.
Yeah, really good guy too. And what's interesting is I've had people that said I can't sleep, and they've taken drugs or whatever, some sort of sleep helper, and they said his those didn't work, but Drew did. So if you're having a problem, check it out. It's called Sleep With Me.
I've considered meditation. Here's what I need to do. Like, there's a lot of easy things I could do that I just refuse to. One is read a book. Like, get away from the computers at about 10:30 or 11 and read a book for a half an hour. That would probably help. Get out of blue light. Stop checking my phone. I am literally checking my phone 2 minutes before I go to sleep. Like, put that thing down, plug it in, put it down, walk away type deal. There are plenty of things I could do, but this was just one of those. As I was perusing for news for the show today, I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. If I could get a pair of earbuds, that would just drown everything out. And it's like, again, Emily had said in the chat room, well, what about kids? And it's still designed to let some of those sounds like alarm clocks and people in the, and it sounded like if you needed like emergency situations, you would still hear those, but it's those things like car noise and snoring, which is at a different frequency. It would work. Yeah. Kwasi also mentions Flux, which is that application that turns it's on for me right now. I've got it on every screen I've got. It turns it orange. It takes the blue light out. Are you familiar with that?
Huh. Yeah. I've never heard of this.
If you go into Windows right now, into the Windows settings, there's actually a night. Let's see, where is it at? If you go to, we have a nightlight mode. That's not what I'm looking for.
I'm assuming this is under.
Yeah, it's part of
system.
It's part of the Windows environment right now. Somebody in the chat room will probably, and as a ex-MVP, I should probably know this, but I think if you go to system and
focused assist, maybe.
Yeah, well, focus assist too will shut off your it's in that focus assist section. You can shut it off. You can shut the notifications off so you don't get notified while you're trying to do things.
Got it.
And then there is that where it's at during times? No, I don't think it's in there.
Yeah.
It is in, guys, help me out. See you, Ken. Thanks for coming out tonight. I think it's, you would think it's in there. Maybe it's in the next build. No, I know it's in this build. Hold on. Display, maybe? Yeah, it's actually in the display. So color, Nightlight is what it's called. And it's right below your monitor.
Okay.
So,
wow. Yeah, and it turns everything orange.
Yeah. Yeah. You stop seeing that orange, by the way. Although I'm seeing your orange shirt, I'm seeing totally tonight.
Right. Well, I put that on so I would have a flesh tone.
You'd have some color.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can turn that on, and then when the sun goes down, it changes your screen. It gets rid of the blue, and it's supposed to help. I get so cranked up with work and other things, Facebook, that I just have not had. I haven't had a good night's sleep in, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 years, maybe.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
That's
people
bad.
are like, how do you do it? And I'm like, I don't know. You just do it.
You sleep.
So
you take naps in the middle of the day at lunch.
No, I wish I could do that as well. Usually if I get sleepy, I just get up and walk around. But I've kind of learned. Where was I listening to? I was listening to a podcast. Oh, you were interviewing that guy on School Podcasting, and he was saying, I think this was your interview, and he was saying, he's taught himself to live on 6 hours of sleep a night. Wasn't that you?
Yeah.
What was your episode? The guy.
Oh yeah, the guy from curiosity.com.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it can be done. I may die early because of it, but I don't know. For $250, I may give it a try.
Yeah.
Try it out.
I'm still curious about the blue light.
Yeah.
So what is the blue light? How is that bad for me?
It mimics daylight, and so your body doesn't start producing those. There's chemicals that we use to put us to sleep, and as long as the light is on, it doesn't produce as many of those melatonin or whatever that is that helps us sleep.
Interesting.
And so that's the other thing. That's the other cheap thing I could do is just take some melatonin. There's people say it's a placebo. It doesn't work. It's not really science, whatever. But be a cheap thing to try. And I don't know.
But I actually did that because I've been getting up and going to the gym, and I actually did it this morning. I was like, I'm setting the alarm clock because to me, I can sleep until 8 and be at work at 8:30 because you
Yeah.
work from home.
Yeah. You work from home.
And
It
I was
makes
just
it.
like, I need some sleep because I was just getting stupid because you get so tired after a while.
Yeah. Emily, actually, they have blue light blocking glasses that you
Glasses.
can, a lot of gamers use them. That amber actually gives you a little bit of better vision as well.
Hmm.
So it's, yeah, sleep is good,
Oh,
and I
it's
should do more of it.
yeah. That I mean, to me, if you're trying to do, if you're trying to lose weight, sleep and water are like the two biggest ingredients.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. The Jim says he uses his hue lights to get ready for bed. So if you have hue lights and you have the more expensive lights that have the color, you can change the color tone in them. Yeah, you could actually set a nice little routine to say, hey, when it's 9 o'clock, turn everything this really soft color to get ready. I got the studio lights on right now. They are as blue as you can possibly
I'm gonna
get.
say
So
that's
until I turn those things off, it's going to be an issue. Well, speaking of that, if you're working out, let's get you out of here, Dave, so you yourself can get to bed. And our time is up here. I'll remind folks, thanks for coming out this evening. Always appreciate it when you get folks to join us live. We missed you, Mike, tonight, although he probably won't listen this far. But we missed you, Mike, tonight. We'll have you back next week. Don't forget, if you want to financially support the show, you can use the Patreon link to get that done. TheAverageGuy.tv/Patreon gets you there. I've been emailing a few of you through Patreon, which is kind of an interesting way to get it done, but it is a way to get it done. They have an email feature in there. If you want to be a supporter, no post show crypto tonight because Mike's not here, and I don't think Dave wants to talk about crypto, so we probably won't do that. We may have a short, very, very short post show, which I probably won't post out there. But remember, when Mike is here, we are talking crypto, posting it on the Patreon account. You can get out there and listen to it for free. I'm not going to make you pay for it, but if you want to go out there and subscribe and support us, you can do that for as little as $1. TheAverageGuy.tv/Patreon. Don't forget, you can contact me, Jim, at TheAverageGuy.tv. Find me on Twitter at Jay Collison. Lots of great conversations going on Twitter. And then use our Facebook group. Facebook, all these discussions that we did in the very beginning of the show, they all came from our Facebook group. So facebook.com/group/theaverageguy. Don't forget the averageguy.tv platform, both web and media hosting, powered by Maple Grove Partners. Get secure, reliable, high-speed hosting from people that you know and you trust. By the way, Christian will be back on Cyber Frontiers next Monday. I keep saying Tuesday, but I think it's Monday. So Monday night, 8 p.m. Central, Christian Cyber Frontiers. I'll blast that out on Twitter, but come out and join us if you can do that. Fun to have him back on. We'll be on every 2 weeks. But if you're interested in that hosting, you can get it planned start as little as $10, and Christian takes care of just about everything for you. Visit maplegrovepartners.com, and then I mentioned the app. Don't forget, you can get that for free. We thank LastPass for their sponsorship of that, and we appreciate them and all that they do to make sure I never forget a password. So awesome. So,
wow.
Yeah, they're pretty awesome.
Tonight.
Did you?
I was trying to log into a website and it's like, that's not it. I'm like, all right, I give up. Went right to LastPass. There it was.
No, I don't even know how to operate without LastPass. It's just that's the only way it works for me. We are live every Thursday, 8 p.m. Central, 9 Eastern. By the way, I had another HelloFresh meal tonight. We've been talking about this on David. You do Blue Apron, HelloFresh? Any of those?
I did. I think it was HelloFresh, and I was next to them. I went to an event, and they were in the booth next to me. And one of the guys, I think, that founded the company was there. Man, was that guy a good salesman. He was just, and I was like, I was there for like 2.5 days. I'm like, all right, I'm eventually going to have to buy something from this guy, and did it for a while. And me, it's just me here. So it was cool. I'd cook a meal and I'd have a meal and a half for a whole day or two. And it was yummy. And if they give you the ingredients and the directions, and it was pretty cool. And I was surprised.
Super fun. My daughter has gotten all geeked out about them, and she is like, I came home tonight, she was already starting to cook, and I came in the kitchen, she goes, "You cut tomatoes." Okay. So she's like, "Instructions are here. You cut tomatoes." So I was the sous chef tonight.
All right.
And not terribly expensive, not as cheap as going out and buying it yourself, but we've done a few recipes now off of the HelloFresh recipe guides they give you. They give these really great guides, and we've replicated them ourselves. And she's done them without them. we still continue to get a couple meals a week just to kind of get new ideas. If you're interested, if you're hearing this and you're interested in trying it, I have a buttload. I shouldn't have said that, but I have a buttload of free coupons. Like, they send me, their marketing machine is crazy. And the best way to try it, I think I've got somewhere you can just get the first thing free and cancel if you don't like it. But I've got a bunch of them. I get nothing for it. But if you want to try it, let me know. Send me an email, jim@theaverageguy.tv. I'll send you a coupon code. We'll get it done. It's been great. It's kind of changed the way we eat, and we're eating a ton better. I had tacos with radishes on it the other day, which I never would have thought to put a radish in a taco, but radishes and cucumbers and then taco meat, and then you normally put sour cream on a taco,
Right.
but this is a mixed sour cream. It's got stuff in it, whatever it was. My daughter made it. I don't know. Super good, Dave. I never would have thought,
Yeah.
you'd go with lettuce, right?
Right.
Radish, same crunchy consistency. Right. Pretty good. I never would have thought to use a radish that way. So you too. Yeah, I think it's one of those things. You kind of go, and then you try it and you're like, oh, this was great. So Emily says, back to food. Yes, everything comes back to food here at the Average Guy Network. We're live every Thursday, 8 p.m. Central, 9 Eastern at the Average Guy TV. The live no post show on crypto will stay around for a few minutes post show. With that, we'll say goodbye, everybody.